the weak. Cross us once, you'll feel the heat. Taking what we want, we don't ask for permission. Running with the wolves, a dangerous coalition. Living on the edge, no time for hesitation. Heel Shit Podcast, where the bad boys reign. Never following the norm, always causing pain. What in this city, ain't nobody in the way. We're the kings of the night, here to stay. Chasing that money, living for the thrill, aiming for the top, gotta make the kill. Street smart, no room for the weak. Cross us once, you'll feel the heat. Taking what we want, we don't ask for permission. Running with the wolves, a dangerous coalition. Living on the edge, no time for hesitation. Heel Shit Podcast, where the bad boys reign. Never following the norm, always causing pain. What in this city, ain't nobody in the way. We're the kings of the night, here to stay. Living on the edge, no time for hesitation. Heel Shit Podcast, where the bad boys reign. Never following the norm, always causing pain. Running this city, ain't nobody in the way. We're the kings of the night, here to stay. Heel Shit Podcast,
All
where the
right.
bad boys reign. Never
Viewer discretion time.
always causing pain.
Viewer discretion is advised.
What up, heel faction? Welcome back to Heel Shit. Why do we call it that? Because bad guys do heel shit. I'm Dark Cordz, that's Draven Grimes, and tonight is Fantasy Wars. The topic: what if Bret Hart never left WWE following the Screwjob? So we're gonna go a little bit about for you guys, just so you know what the Screwjob is. Gonna go through that a little bit. Draven's gonna take the WWE side. I'm gonna help out with that. I'm gonna do the WCW side. You can help out with that, and we'll get into it all right after this.
Cool. Living fast, we ain't slowing down. Always ready to turn heads around. Heel Shit Podcast, where the bad boys reign. Never following the norm, always causing pain.
All right, how you doing, Draven?
Been a very productive day. We announced a new TC coming out, and we've been very diligent at trying to get as much done as possible.
Oh, you're not peeking over there?
Are you fucking serious, mate?
There you go. Got talking to it. Yeah, so for you guys who didn't hear, we've got a trading card series coming out, and we've been working on that. Very excited about it. Not going to be a ton of them out there. We're just going to, make probably a set of 10 or 15 of them, maybe 20.
Well,
And
I'd say 20. We'll have 5 chase cards, 5 kind of more hard to get cards, and then we'll have the 10 base cards that are pretty common to get.
all right, sounds like a plan.
And we'll see how Series 1 goes, see how good it sells, and if it sells good, then, I mean, I've already got artworks for Series 2 ready to go. I just want to see it work first.
Right.
All right. So,
what if Bret Hart never left the WWE after the Screwjob? So in this fantasy, the Screwjob happens.
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So explain to everybody what we call the Screwjob.
Okay. So, for anyone that's ever watched professional wrestling, I'm sure you know what it is, but just in case, let's take you back to Survivor Series 1997. A little bit of backstory for Survivor Series 97. Bret was walking in WWE champion. Bret signed with WCW. His contract would not take into effect until the Monday after Survivor Series. He was willing to drop the title to damn near anybody. But at the time, him and Shawn Michaels had legitimate fuck you heat towards each other. Like, no work. It was like, legitimately, if I see you, it's on fucking sight kind of shit. So, Vince basically had the mindset of, if we get it in the ring, it'll be okay.
Right.
And of course, if you want to go back and watch this in detail, Dark Side of the Ring did a great episode on it. I do believe it's on YouTube. You can find it fairly easily. Just look up Vice TV Montreal Screwjob. It's right there. But to get back to it, match went on. Bret basically said, I'm not dropping the title. I'm going to win. I'm going to go to Raw the next night. I'm going to hand it to you. I'm going to leave. We don't know if that was ever going to happen because
Never got the chance.
never got the chance. So here's what happened. Got to a spot where Shawn had Bret down. Shawn attempted the worst. Worse than Wayne the Croc Johnson's fucking sharpshooter. To the point that Bret had to teach him mid-move how to put the fucking legs on right for the sharpshooter. And as soon as it got turned over, Vince ran and threatened the fucking timekeeper to ring the fucking bell in the fucking match. Directed Howard Finkel to say that Shawn Michaels won the title. Total fucking chaos. Shawn had kayfabe. Shawn had no idea what was going on. Bret legitimately had no idea what the fuck's going on. It's fucking just mass chaos the entire fucking time. So, we call it the Montreal Screwjob because it happened in Montreal. It was the biggest screw job of the last 40 years. Now, granted, and if you go back and watch Dark Side of the Ring, Cornette goes over 2 other screw jobs that's happened in pro wrestling history. To where they tied it back to those, but it is what it is at that point. So, Bret lost the title against his fucking will. Bret said, fuck you, went to fucking WCW after, and this is multiple accounts, hitting a fucking Mortal Kombat-like uppercut on fucking Vince McMahon and knocking him the fuck out. The one time I praise fucking Bret Hart.
Mm-hmm.
So, Montreal Screwjob, that's basically it.
And the whole reason was because Vince didn't trust, because the Medusa thing had happened.
Yep.
because Medusa showed up on WCW TV with the WWF Women's title and threw it in the trash.
Legitimately.
So he didn't trust that Bret wouldn't do the same thing, wouldn't show up with their main title on WCW TV and bastardize it.
Yes.
So that happened. Huge chaos, and then Bret went to WCW.
But what if?
What if he didn't?
Let's pro and con it real quick before we. I don't think we're really going to get too much into a booking series here tonight. I think this is more of a discussion thing.
Yeah.
Let's talk about what happened if on the Fed side. I don't think we'd have the Mr. McMahon character as fast.
Okay.
I don't. Why? Because the whole antithesis, the beginning of the Mr. McMahon character started with a Bret screwed Bret promo.
Okay.
The day after fucking Survivor Series. He had to sit down with Jim Ross. And he said, I didn't screw Bret. John didn't screw Bret. Bret screwed Bret.
Right.
And that just evolved into what would become the Mr. McMahon character. Obviously, with the stuff with Mike Tyson and Shawn Michaels leading into WrestleMania 14, and then the aftermath with Stone Cold, that all created the Mr. McMahon character. But it started here. The seeds were planted here in this promo.
Okay.
I don't think we have a dissolvement of the Hart Foundation. And what I mean by that, I mean, Jim wouldn't have left. British Bulldog wouldn't have got put in the fucking shits. God bless Owen. He ate a lot of shit after this, but he chose to fucking stay. And I don't think he would have ate nearly as much shit, which means he probably wouldn't have went to the Nation of Domination, had the Nugget thing, and then the Jeff Jarrett deal. Like, a lot of shit's gonna fucking splinter off here for me. Another thing that I don't think would have happened, I don't think DX would have really been a thing.
Huh? Now we're gonna go back through these because I want to know your mindset behind all these.
Yeah. I don't think DX would have really been too much of a thing to be the anti-authority, attitudinal thing. I think it just been John and Hunter just being themselves. And the biggest thing, and this is where the booking part comes in. I don't think we would have had fucking Shawn and Austin at WrestleMania 14.
Huh?
Not saying Austin would have walked out with the fucking title, but I don't think we would have had that match. I also don't think Shawn's back would have been broken. I don't think he would have worked Undertaker at Royal Rumble that year. A lot of shit would have changed.
Huh?
So, what about you? What are your opinions on what would have changed? Not necessarily stayed, but changed.
To me, and it doesn't really pain me to say this, but it's absolutely true. It would not have made one bit of difference to WCW had Bret Hart not shown up. Like, they didn't use him. He didn't have any memorable feuds. He didn't even have a feud with Sting, which should have been the money feud.
Mm-hmm.
He was completely irrelevant in WCW. You remember one thing about Bret Hart in WCW, and that's the steel plate that he stopped Goldberg's spiel with.
Thing.
The only thing. Well, because I'm a WCW guy, the second thing that I remember is him having to come out and recount the 1997 Starrcade match with Sting and Hogan. Those are the only two memorable things that Bret Hart did in WCW.
Dude, I didn't even think
Yeah.
this shit with the Hogan thing. more of a clusterfuck with that would have been?
It was a clusterfuck for one reason, because Hogan told him not to count fast.
Yeah, but if they didn't have somebody like Bret to go out there and start it, how
Yeah.
much more of a cluster? Like, who would you had to have put there? Because Bischoff, you gonna send Bischoff out there who's on fucking Hogan's side?
No,
Exactly.
no. I mean, if it could have been J.J. Dillon for all I give a fuck, as long if they had counted it fast like they were supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Bret Hart was needed to do that. I don't know, man. He could have stayed in WWF for all I care, and we can get more into both sides of this argument. We want to take our first commercial break and then jump into your reasoning behind all of your.
We can, but let me put one more thing on the WCW side.
Okay.
If he didn't jump ship the WCW, I don't think the concussion issue would have came into effect. I don't think he would have had to retire as early as he did. He may have would have stuck around until that quote unquote 20-year contract was fucking up.
Yeah, he could have. It could have been very. Looking back, it's very easy to say that if he'd never wrestled Goldberg, he wouldn't have had to retire like that.
Mm-hmm.
But you also don't know what kind of injury accumulation he had, and if that. I mean, I don't know. That's debatable. We can talk about that.
Yeah. All right.
So,
Want to roll
All
to
right.
the first one?
yep. We will be right back to get into the nitty gritty. What up, Yo Faction? Today's day and age, internet security is of paramount importance. That's why today's sponsor is Surfshark VPN. Tell them about it, Draven.
It was really quite simple. VPNs are the way of the future. Keeps your stuff secure, safe, and out of hackers' hands. You want to go watch Netflix over in Japan? Flip that shit over. You want to go watch the capital P word, and you can't because you're in one of these states that got it banned? Flip that shit over to another country. Really quite simple.
Absolutely. Keeps your information safe, out of the hands of hackers. VPNs, as Draven said, are the future. If you use the link in the description, you can get Surfshark VPN for 88% off plus 3 free months.
Damn, that's quite a steal.
Yeah, we're talking about less than $2 per month plus 3 free months. You sign up using the link in the description. Safe surfing, happy surfing, keep your shit safe. We'll get back to the show. All right, everybody go check out Surfshark, the link in the description. Saying hi to folks. What up, Mike? What up, James? What up, Donald? Good to see everybody. We're talking about what if Bret Hart never left WWF after the Screwjob. We kind of went through our points. So let's get deeper into some of the things you were saying. I'm very interested in hearing your thought process behind. I guess let's start from the top. Let's. You said there wouldn't be as quickly a Mr. McMahon character.
Yeah, I don't think the Vince McMahon thing would have happened as quickly. I think naturally that's how Vince was heading anyway. Because at the time, if you remember correctly, he was kind of stepping away from the announce table and he was more doing on-screen stuff while trying to stay neutral with it because I'm the owner of the World Wrestling Federation, shit like that. Well, at some point, you're gonna start hating your boss.
Yeah,
That's just a fact of life. I think we would have saw it more, and this is just assuming the Mike Tyson thing happened as it was supposed to. I think we'd have saw more start there because of the shit between Austin and Tyson, and I think Austin would have been the antithesis of McMahon character starting to where something at WrestleMania 14 would have caused the Mr. McMahon character to fully develop on that night. Let me lead into that a little bit more. Time for you right now. Sorry. My niece. Anyway, Uh, I don't think we would have had Shawn and Austin at Mania that year.
Okay.
I think what would have happened after the screw job and after everything calmed down, everybody's able to come to the table and kind of come to an agreement on some shit. And they would have had Shawn lose the belt to Bret leading into 14. I would call it at the Rumble
Okay.
because that's where Shawn had the casket match with Taker that fucked his back up for the next 4.5 years. So if you don't have that match, Shawn doesn't have to fucking retire early. And we have him after WrestleMania, and that sets all kinds of shit later down the fucking road. But this is more the what if for Bret thing. So Bret wins the title. Austin still wins the Royal Rumble that year. They still do the Mike Tyson thing. Mike Tyson doesn't roll with DX or anything like that. He's more kind of neutral in a situation where McMahon's trying to pay him off to kind of see things his way, which kind of turns everything into where does Bret sit with this? Where does Austin sit with this? Where Bret eventually reforms the Hart Foundation, goes full heel again, and then we have a heel Bret Hart going into a babyface Stone Cold going into WrestleMania, in which we have Bret fucking drop the title to Austin, and we start that whole venture.
Right. It's funny, David said something about probably wouldn't get hurt because of the casket match. That was one of the things you said, that it wouldn't even happen in your scenario.
Well, yeah, because if he drops it at Royal Rumble, the casket match with
That's the
Taker
match.
never happens.
Right.
So why would we have that? And if anything, you would have fucking Taker go ahead and start working early with fucking Kane.
Right.
Have them do something quick there at the Rumble, and then move a fucking casket match to Mania that year. Have Kane and Taker to casket match. What the fuck ever. I'm not here to rebook fucking WrestleMania 14. I'm here just to discuss the whole Bret Hart thing.
Sure.
Going back to the McMahon character, I would see Vince interfering in the match at Mania. I would see Mike Tyson knocking him out. I would see Mike Tyson doing the 3 count. And the same finish, basically.
Yeah.
What else are you want me to go more detail into?
Very interested in your thought on what would have happened or not happened with Owen.
Now, see, we're going way down the line there. We're going 19 months.
Well, the backlash started being filled.
I know where you're wanting me to end at.
Yeah. But the backlash started almost immediately. Started seeing them in goofier shit.
I firmly believe that was just creative trying to get him to fucking quit. But I also believe that Bret was just one of those people that was just not going to fucking walk out on a contract because he had kids, he had a wife, he was doing this to put money up. He didn't care about his image or how he looked as much as Bret did.
Right.
If Bret didn't fucking leave, I could see Bret being the standalone guy to take sides with Austin with the Hart Foundation versus Austin thing after Mania, because Owen's always been the I need to do what's right kind of deal, except for when he was in the Nation of Domination, which we would skip all that shit. We would not have the I'm a nugget bullshit, none of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we skip that shit.
Yeah.
I don't need the little skinny punk kid that does really good impressions doing the fucking shit with the DX. And that's another thing. I don't really see DX really fucking happening. If they do form, it's going to be way down the fucking road, and it's not going to be anywhere near WrestleMania because Shawn never got injured.
Yeah.
I just see him and Hunter just beatboxing as a tag team. As far as Owen goes, you're right. I don't ever would see him go into the parody characters or his old blue blazer gimmick or anything like that. So I would not ever see him fall from the rafters, which means I don't see him dying from that.
Yeah.
Not saying what's going to happen afterwards or anything like that, as far as health or medical, but I would see him ride out the rest of that current contract, and he retires, and he lives the rest of his fucking life happy and content, because that was his plan anyway. He was going to ride out that contract till, I think that contract ended in 2001. And once that contract expired, he was going to go and be a firefighter.
Really?
At least that's what his wife Diane made public.
So it's very interesting, and I think I tend to agree with you that if he hadn't been saddled with those Gideon, maybe if he hadn't been saddled with those shit gimmicks, the nation thing, the blue blazer thing.
Now, to be fair, the blue blazer thing was something he did up in Calgary beforehand.
Right.
They just bastardized it and turned it into a comedy gimmick.
Right. It was never a comedy gimmick.
No, not in Calgary.
So if they hadn't, it's very, very possible that Owen would not have died that night.
Mm-hmm. If anything, I could still see him turn heel down the road somewhere and him team with Jeff Jarrett and all that shit still happen. And I could see them being tag team champions that night. And we would not have to deal with one of the worst tragedies our business has ever fucking seen.
Yeah.
So, what about you? I mean, you brought up Owen. I want to see where you sit on the whole Owen Hart thing. I know this is a Bret Hart deal, but it kind of ties.
Truth be told, I was always more of an Owen guy than I was a Bret guy.
Because he was a better worker.
Yeah. I always thought, hey, what up, Kozak? I always felt that, because I grew up a WCW guy. Owen went to WCW before he went to WWF. I saw him do amazing shit before most of the country did. Oh, his thing hasn't popped up. Here, you can write. That pop. That's why it's called Fantasy Wars, bro. We're doing a fantasy of what would happen if he did not leave. Obviously, he left and would have left anyway, but that's why this is called Fantasy Wars.
Big what if show.
The
Continue.
big what if show. Obviously, if we're saying the screw job happened, then Sean holds the belt.
Mm-hmm.
I tend to agree with a lot of what you said. I mean, there wouldn't have been the Bret screwed Bret promo. There wouldn't have been any of those, and it was because Vince is famous for this. There wouldn't have been that punishment or demotion to Owen. Hopefully, he would have,
I can agree but disagree at the same time. It would have been immediate that the shit would have started, but once him and Bret were able to fucking sit down and renegotiate and try to get everything back on the same page, that's when you get the more serious Bret Hart shit come back.
Right.
Or Owen Hart, excuse me.
Right. I don't know. It's hard for me to go there because I was really disheartened by how Owen was treated after that.
Mm-hmm.
And I never had this question in mind, obviously. What would have happened, but hopefully he wouldn't have been saddled with those shit gimmicks. And with him, so when he left, he went to WCW. He did pretty much nothing.
Not true. He got kicked in the head.
Well, yeah, that one. and that wouldn't have happened. So perhaps he would have had a longer career, but you never know. I just tend to, when it comes to Owen, I tend to agree with you. He wouldn't have been given that comedy gimmicks, the embarrassment, and you don't know if let's just pretend that the Blue Blazer was brought back, but brought back serious, like it was in Canada. Okay, as a serious gimmick.
How would you do that though? I mean, it was brought back basically like how they did Mr. America for Hogan.
Yeah.
To have Owen on TV without having Owen on fucking TV. Would you run the similar scenario, or would you?
Maybe I would have sent him home for a couple of months, you know, brought him back. I don't know. But the fact that the Blazer happened, I'm just trying to make chicken salad out of chicken shit with that. Was there any way to bring him back in that gimmick to make it make sense?
Yeah, for one, don't let him talk. Don't let him cut a promo. Keep him fucking quiet. Get a full fucking face mask, because everyone know who the fuck that goddamn chin and that nose combination was.
Oh,
Let's
yeah.
be fucking clear. You'd need a full fucking hood. Eyes cut out, and that's about it.
I gotcha.
He would have to go back and basically work like he did with fucking Coco Beware when they did that tag team together. Work a different style. Don't work. Use the heart maneuvers. You'd have to change a lot of shit. And I think the closest thing you can find on that is when Christopher Daniels left TNA in 2005 with that Feast or Fire bullshit.
Right.
And he came back as Curry Man. You couldn't, I mean, I was fooled. I couldn't tell if that was fucking Christopher Daniels or not. I thought it was just another guy.
Right.
Same situation.
Yeah.
And Owen had the talent to pull that off.
Absolutely.
That's the only way I could see the Blue Blazer coming back. I wouldn't see it for long. I would see it for 2, 3, maybe 4 months. Because at that point, I'm kind of missing Owen. I need Owen to come back. At least let it run until after the Over the Edge thing. And maybe SummerSlam 99 have Owen come back. And have him work Bret that year.
Guys, you're nobody. Wasn't Bret leaving anyway? Kind of kills the conversation. That's why it's called Fantasy Wars, dog. We're talking about hypothetical what-if scenarios.
You learn to read.
And yes, Elijah, that's what I believe too. No Goldberg kick, longer career. Don't know how much longer, but his entire time at WCW was a fucking waste.
Mm-hmm.
Here, let's throw it to one more commercial break. Get back into it.
Vodka, Ebol, Castell. Indulge in the Red Revolution.
Thank you, Castell Vodka, for sponsoring the podcast since the very beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Want to remind everybody about the YouTube memberships. $1.99 a month gets you pretty much everything you need. Get you the members only merch store where you get merch at cost. You get all the members only videos, all the emojis, all that stuff. We do have a $4.99 tier that comes with more personalized communications, like you get a Zoom call with us every month. We connect, follow each other on social media, do a lot more personalized stuff like that. So check out the memberships. We'd love to have you as a member. So what do you think? What do you think would be like where Bret's career would have went from that point?
How far down you want to go? Because I already gave you WrestleMania 14. I think we'd had another Bret and Austin match. I think Austin would have won the fucking title. How much further do you want to go? Want to go 99? You want to go 2000?
Not necessarily. Just overall, what would you see? What do you see if he hadn't gone to WCW? He hadn't had to retire. How long do you think he would have kept going? How many more belts do you think he would have won? Like, what are we talking about here as far as the magnitude of his career in those extra few years?
If you're talking the main title, I think that match with Austin at 14 would have been the last main championship he would have had. I think he would have had a couple of good tag title runs once him and Owen got on the same page storyline wise. I don't see him getting the IC title because I see him taking it as a demotion rather than, an opportunity. Honestly, after a couple of tag title victories, I don't see him really going after championships anymore. I see him more or less trying to help the younger talent get over. We could finally have that match with fucking Rock. We could have Bret Hart versus The Game Triple H.
Yeah.
We could have Bret and Owen versus the Hardys versus Edge and Christian versus the Dudleys.
Yes.
We could have had Bret Hart versus Taz. Like, it's limitless what we could have had. On the flip side, if we go to WCW, if he never signed with WCW, kind of see WCW's downfall coming faster.
Really?
Without Bret there, you really don't have any blood. You have no reason to reform NWO for the 1000th fucking time for NWO 2000. That was our last ditch ever to get any fucking ratings for it. Went completely in the shitter.
Well, I think driving force behind them going really into the shitter was when they brought Vince Russo in.
I don't even think.
That whole
I don't
new
even
thing.
think.
You don't think they would have made
I
it
don't
that
even
far?
think that far.
Really? I mean, because Bret Hart wasn't the last person they brought in.
No, but they put so much on him to want him to fucking push it, and it's once you saw Bret Hart as NWO 2000, I was like, yeah, I'm done. I'm fucking done.
Yeah. No, everything after 99 in WCW was garbage.
I say no later than April of 2000.
Yeah.
No later. That's right before they did the reset with fucking Russo and Bischoff.
Hmm. Yeah, so let's talk about from a 30,000 foot perspective. We're talking the Vince McMahon character probably wouldn't have come out nearly as soon.
Mm-hmm. But still would have.
Still would have. You've got the potential for Owen's career to take a completely different direction.
Which is the main takeaway for me.
Yeah.
I know this is a Bret Hart thing, but I've always been a
And then possibly WCW closing earlier than they did. And then obviously whatever else they could have done as a tag team with him and Owen after the next WrestleMania loss.
Dude, wouldn't it have been fucking weird if we saw the Hearts in TLC?
Ooh, Jesus Christ.
They could be the complete yang to all three of their yin.
Absolutely.
Be that one tag team where they didn't want to use the tables, ladders, and chairs and try to out wrestle it until they had to fucking use the ladders.
That's brilliant.
Storytelling at its greatest.
That's storytelling. What do you guys think Bret would have been Deadly Game tournament?
That is Survivor Series tournament that had Corporate Rock beat Mankind in the finals.
Think he plays a major role in that?
I think we make Bret go away for a little while, and we have him make a return at the end of that match. And we set up Rock and Bret for not the following month's pay-per-view, but the Royal Rumble the following year.
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
So We could
Plus-
potentially be seeing an entirely different pro wrestling world
Yes.
if he had not left after the screw job.
Essentially, yes.
Very interesting.
I mean, all it ever takes is just one little thing to be tweaked. I mean, it's like the old saying goes: if you go back in time and you step on a butterfly, what changes?
Yeah.
Everything. Same here.
Yeah, definitely a butterfly effect in this one.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. You guys got any other ideas in the chat?
Any questions, queries, legitimate comments, and not just trying to say this is a dud? I don't give a fuck. I'll call him out. What did Kozak say the other night? Raven's not afraid to say what everybody's thinking. Motherfucker.
That's right.
Fucking ain't right.
Absolutely. Let's see. Well, I mean, I think we've kind of sleuthed that problem out.
So let me ask you this: if WCW would have closed sooner, and we didn't have the whole invasion, would there have been a chance that Vince would have signed Sting and we would have had Sting and Bret Hart at WrestleMania, and let that be Bret's retirement match?
I mean, yeah, because I think Sting was coming up on the end of his contract in late '99 to 2000.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason Vince didn't bring Sting in was because he was making $7 million a year, and Vince didn't want to pay it.
Let me give you the reason why Sting never came to WWE. He saw how Vince was treating all the WCW guys from the invasion angle, and did not want any part of that.
Well, this is from what Sting says.
Also said this on shooter interviews as well.
Yeah. So he said both.
Yes.
Later in his career, he said that he had a contract that Vince couldn't swallow.
This was
Earlier.
Yeah, this was his TNA days. Like
but
early TNA
if we
days.
hadn't gotten to the invasion, he wouldn't have known that.
That's what I'm saying.
So you got both of those issues. You got the non-invasion, so that he doesn't see how they were being treated.
Mm-hmm.
You had a contract that was coming up that he could have signed a new contract with Vince
Mm-hmm.
and not have decided to sit at home and make $7 million a year.
Yep.
So yeah, we could have seen that would have been the start of Sting's WWE career. We would have saw all the matches that I've always wanted to see.
Mm-hmm.
That could have been huge.
But here's what kills. This is what kills it for me.
Okay.
Never got Sting in.
Never would have got Sting in TNA.
And in my opinion, and I know you're a WCW guy, Sting's best run was in TNA.
I won't say his best run, but a very, very memorable run. He had a lot of runs in his career. Different characters, stuff like that.
I'm talking about like consistent. Sting's best run was in TNA.
Yeah, maybe
They
so.
put that company on his fucking back until Kurt Angle
They
got
did.
there.
Absolutely.
And he pushed TNA to a platform that it needed to be at.
Yeah, hugely important to TNA. So yeah, but that again goes to show you that this one point in time could have rewritten everything for wrestling history. Wow, that's a deep one.
Now, imagine if I decide to book this shit out a year.
If you got some spare time.
No, they're wrote down, but we don't have that much time tonight.
Bret and Kurt Angle, yeah, that would have been a good match, dude.
Fuck Kurt Angle.
He sucks.
Does suck. But that rookie Kurt Angle is level of. No. He was one that aged like wine, not like milk.
Bret and Benoit, didn't we get that?
Yeah, we got it on a Nitro. But it was a
Yeah.
WCW style match, so we didn't We didn't get what they could have legitimately gave us.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah. I wasn't expecting so many potential ramifications out of this episode.
What were you expecting, though? Like, in all honesty, what were you expecting coming into this show?
I guess I didn't have too many expectations. I knew we were going to have a decent conversation about it. But when I first thought about this prompt, I did not see all of these long-term implications.
Mm-hmm.
And it's fascinating.
You were probably more looking at it from a WCW point of view, which is
of course
3 points in fucking time that, let's face it, overall thing, nothing really fucking matter.
No, nothing at all.
But from the Fed point of view, a lot more money would have been made. A lot more stars would have been made. We would probably still have some good brothers sitting around today.
And yeah, and WCW might have closed early. TNA might not be TNA without Sting there because
And that hurts me. That hurts me.
Yeah, there's so many things that could have come out of that. Okay.
What if Bret Hart signed with TNA?
Damn.
Because I say he ends in WWE in about 2001, 2002.
Thank you, David.
But what if he goes part-time? 04, 05. And instead of Sting in TNA, we had Bret Hart in TNA.
Honestly, and I can't say this because I'm admittedly a huge Sting mark.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see Bret having the popularity to draw new fans to TNA.
I'm not thinking about drawing new fans to TNA. I'm thinking about drawing the older wrestling crowd to TNA.
Right.
And then putting Kurt over.
Hmm.
And that's where that platform lifts off.
Elijah, thank you for joining the heel faction, brother.
So, do I think TNA will do better with Bret rather than Sting? No.
No.
Fuck no. 1,000 times no.
Mm-mm.
But it's a good alternate reality where we can get Kurt more over as the American hero babyface.
True that. And let's face it, Kurt's run in TNA was his best run.
I have been preaching that for decades.
Yeah, of course.
Peak Angle is on another fucking level. I don't see how he walks. I don't see how he functions the way he does.
I mean, but you can tell how fucked up he is. His arms are shriveled up. He's, a shell of man that he was.
Mm-hmm. Oh, he gave it everything he had. Every fucking thing.
Yeah.
Edgar just sending crotch pics. That's all it is. All it is. Why are you laughing? Your crotch.
Oh, Jesus. All right. You got anything else on this, or you want to wrap it up?
But that's the point. Just get them to where Kurt could come in and take over for Bret. I'm not saying have him play the long game like Sting did, but rather get TNA to a point to where when Kurt did come in, they can have one good match and that'd be it.
Right.
That's where I was coming from. That's it.
I think that's it.
So.
That was much deeper than I was expecting. I like it.
Well, what do you expect? You got me here always thinking about this shit.
I know. Never underestimate.
That's a lie. All right. So, pleasantries. Ladies and gentlemen, this Sunday we will be having Hill Shit Podcast live with your boys, Dark Cordz, Draven Grimes, at 12 Eastern, 11 Central.
I think Snugg's going to join us this week for a new list.
Is he?
I think so.
Awesome. Johnny, let me say it again. 11 Eastern, Sunday.
No, 12.
I'm trying to get him off my fucking ass. I want him to go back and listen to it later and get me some fucking ad revenue. Fuck. You're right. But speaking of Snug, we will be having Weekend Wrestling Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central. Or we actually got something planned for that one. We're going over the Moxley AEW lawsuit
next
detail.
Tuesday for Weekend Wrestling. I'll be doing a deep dive into the John Moxley AEW lawsuit that was just filed. We went over it briefly this past week, but I'm going to do a deep dive and pick out all the important stuff. I've been a lawyer for over 15 years, so I kind of know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, here and there.
So we're going to break that down.
And as well, every Thursday night, it's become your favorite thing. Say it.
Fantasy Wars!
And you're going to like this one. You're going to like this. What if WCW had won the Monday Night Wars?
Ooh, Lord have mercy.
I am booking pay-per-views, my man. I am booking pay-per-views for the 12 months following. Sound good?
Sounds good. For how long?
For a year.
Okay.
I want you to take care of the WCW booking. I'm going to take care of the WWF booking.
Do it.
Which means WWE is getting sold. Turner Broadcast.
What that means.
What if Eric Bischoff and Ted Turner showed up at WrestleMania?
Woo-hoo.
That was the last fucking WWE show. That's the kind of shit we're going to be booking here on out for a year.
Like it.
It's going to be fucking interesting. Oh, I can't wait. I can't.
It's going to be
Thursday,
a good
can't
one.
get here.
Next Thursday.
Yep. Real quick, make sure you hit all the socials, Facebook, Instagram, sometimes the Twitter, obviously YouTube, Trovo, all that good stuff. The Tiki-Taki, the Fippy Fappy, all social medias at Heelshit Podcast. Have any questions, please email us at heelshitpodcast@gmail.com. We're always on it. We always check questions. We always answer as soon as we can. As well as the YouTube premium memberships. One more time, good sir.
YouTube memberships, only $1.99 a month. Get you pretty much everything you need. You get the merch at cost. You got a separate members-only merch store. Everything at cost. You got all the members-only videos. You got a ton of them. All the emojis, all that good shit. If you're interested in more personalized connection, we do have a $4.99 a month tier.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus Christ, $4.99 a month
not
tier.
just me tonight.
No, fuck. $4.99 a month tier. That includes a monthly Zoom call, and we follow back and forth on social medias. So if you're interested in more kind of up close and personal communications, there's a $4.99 tier.
Mm-hmm.
We would love to have you guys as a member. Come check it out.
And last, certainly not least,
The merch!
fucking gorgeous, my man.
Beautiful merch.
As always, we got Heel Shit Podcast merchandise. We have TFK merchandise, Dark Cordz, Draven Grimes, and the Rip Ruiz merchandise all there. The Fuck Logan Paul shirts for my boy Edgar, Pole Watcher stuff. Everything that you could need. Shirts, hoodies, tank tops, shorts, cups. Probably delicates coming in the coming weeks.
We got some new got some new stuff up on the merch store, on the members only merch store. We got some hats and some beanies up there. And then on the Streamlabs merch store, the link in the description, there's a new Definition of Wrestling t-shirt up there. Great merch. Great stuff.
Yep.
Great quality and quick turnaround.
Yep. And I just put my order in tonight, so it's going to be fucking great. And just remember, just like Bret Hart, Heel Shit Podcast is the best there is, the best there was, and best there ever will be. Take us out, my guy.
All right, guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. For Draven Grimes and Dark Cordz, I am fucking up all night long. For Draven Grimes, I'm Dark Cordz. This has been Heel Shit. Why do we call it that? Because bad guys do heel shit. Peace.
Heel Shit Podcast. for the bad boys. I ain't never following the